So the last thing I noticed before I hooked this cooling up, and this happens a lot, so the installers come, they see one compressor, and they only wire a single stage, because there's one compressor, right? Well, we don't have two stage at the stat as far as wires go, so I just jumped it for right now. But some of these new Bryants and Carriers, that solenoid valve is stage 2. So our liquid line feeds over to the expansion valve for stage 1. And then when stage 2 energizes, it feeds up top to the fixed orifice. So keep that in mind when you're dealing with some of these newer Carrier Bryant units. What up, guys? I'm back with our units with the lovely artwork. That guy got a condenser coil replaced. Found a leak from the factory. Filter service was out. Changing filters. And had noticed the evaporator was froze up on one of these. Just the bottom part of the evaporator. Neither one of these is cooling now, so it should be thawed out. That just kicked on. It sounds like both blowers are running, so first I got to figure out which one was freezing up. That shouldn't have kicked off. That's concerning, because that would make me think it's got a leak. It just kicked on. So let's tear some of these panels apart and see what we got. It just kicked back on. No fan either. And off. I would suspect it's going on low pressure or high pressure. Let's get in here and see what's going on. No motor master, so that fan ought to be running. It's fed off of this contactor here that's not pulled in. So it was high pressure. It doesn't explain why I had ice. All they sent me was a picture with ice, and apparently that came from the filter people, but I could have just found another problem. It could have been this one. So let's work our way through one thing at a time and get this thing running, because this never would have froze up doing what it was doing. It was just going to cycle like that. I'm not sure where these fan motors are fed from. It sure looks like, I'm just following that wire, sure looks like it comes either here on one of the purple wires. It was kind of bent back a little bit, or over here somewhere. So let's dig in, look at the wire diagram, figure out where that comes from, and see why it's not calling. So you can see with no, here's the low ambient accessory here. So with no low ambient, the outdoor fan relay, this is common on this side, or outdoor fan contactor, it's common. And violet is fed from number 7 CLO2, and if you follow the dotted line, it just jumps out with violet here on the CLO1. So basically 1 or 2 calls and I should get a signal on this violet wire here. And then there's your jumper there. So that's the CLO one that jumps out. And then this is gonna go to contactor coil. So let's verify we got voltage there. And if we don't, we might have a problem with the board. Might have to give it 5 minutes. I'm on the contactor. We can swap over and check out of the board. Let's see if we can't give it a cooling call real quick. The only thing I did was mess with this. That's weird. Why? Okay, that was, I jumped Y1. What happens if my Y2 was just called? I'll have to go back and look because I don't remember what contactor was pulled in, but I wonder if my Y2's not calling and Y1. I don't know why they got to do it like that. It seems dumb, but it seems like it should connect here somehow with that jumper. I'm gonna have to dig into this a little more. We'll see. Let's let it call on its own, and we'll see what calls first. So this is stage. Sorry, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. I'm looking at something else, and I'm showing you. This is stage 2, I believe. This is stage 1. Should have been. I think that was that compressor. And that was the one that was running. Pretty sure. I don't know. This is all kind of weird now. But let's let it cycle on its own. We'll see what happens. So while I'm waiting on that guy to call, I'm gonna come over here and get an eyeball on this guy. Sorry, that was probably not funny, but we're gonna see. We lost the belt. And there's your ice. I can hear motor running. But, so this is the one that they called about that was the problem. I'm still not sure what the hell is going on with that guy. So, we got a 2-for-1. Let's see what's going on inside that blower section. We'll move some of our stuff across. Wait for this guy to call. I've got my common and Y1 hooked up to make sure Y1 is calling and not Y2 for some reason. Although I think it was correct. And I don't know why the fan motor ran after I got here. It got scared. It knew I was here. So let's get this panel off and see what's going on inside this blower section. And there's your belt. 8 up. Pulley's not really worn. Doesn't look like anything moved. I don't know if somebody's been. Oh, well. I'd say that's a little loose. I bet that'd throw off pretty quick if you tried to start it. These things are. I mean, hell, that's a worn belt too. I don't know, somebody might have thrown a spare that they had, because that's not an AX. Wonder if they didn't find it thrown before. It doesn't look terribly out of line. Trying to get y'all right on it. I can actually see better with the camera. You're probably getting mine there. Doesn't look terrible. So we're gonna have to get a new belt. I don't like that. These are of the age that maybe it just wore. It's just weird there's another spare in here already. but you can see the crack in that thing. I don't feel anything in the pulley that should have done that. So we'll worry about that in a minute. The thing's gonna have to thaw out. See if I got one of those on my truck. Still don't have a call from this guy yet again, I don't think. So we got a belt size on that one. This guy's not gonna kick on for me now, so I'm gonna let the building heat up. We do have the VFD that is gonna fail soon because we've already had so many problems out of this thing. It's amazing that we can't keep belts on a new unit. The coil's leaking from the factory. The inducer motor failed already. This is gonna be the next problem. I ought to bypass it while I'm here, but we're not gonna do that. This is a different side. This has got a bigger pulley on it. So, I mean, this is different from the other. This belt actually looks in pretty good shape. And this has got a spare too, like somebody's replaced them. So I'm gonna leave this belt alone. I mean, you can see that one's not riding in there too bad. And maybe it's the drive that saves them, but we've had problems out of these new Carrier, Bryant, whatever the hell you want to call them. We've had problems out of these things throwing belts and tearing belts up. And the only thing I see on this one is it's just open so far. That pulley, I mean, that A belt's gonna sit all the way down in there. I don't know if it was adjusted for a reason. It didn't move, at least it doesn't look like it moved, because my set screw is right there where the flats part is. So I don't think it moved on its own, because I've seen that before too. But we'll get an amp draw on this guy when we get a new belt on it, and just see if we can't, even if I can go in a half a turn where I'm not sitting so far down in there. I mean, I can see the damn threads. They open that wide open. I don't know why. I mean, it could have come out of the factory that way. I don't think anybody would have adjusted it after the fact for no reason. And it looks like we've only got one spare, so maybe we've only done the belts once. I guess they've been about a year old, so that probably would have been about right. So let's go get what we need. We'll go ahead and kick this guy back on and see if it's running when we get back, and go from there. And I caught it. That's Y2 that pulled it. Now, I checked my safety, so everything's closed on Y1, and I did not have a Y1 call. Y is stage 2 pulling in before stage 1. So we could have there could be a thermostat problem, or I would lean more towards they've got something wired wrong. Does it go through that conduit? Sure looks like it does. It's kind of weird. We'll go down and check the thermostat whenever somebody gets here. Nobody's here yet, so we're gonna get our belt and go from there. I was just getting ready to run and button this up, and that's what I found. So I'm just gonna use this as a straight edge. I do have a slight gap. It's like that motor needs to move out just a little bit. This is the best straight edge I could find, so it's hitting there. So I think if that pulley comes out a little bit, because there is a little gap on that end, so let's see if we can adjust a little bit and then go from there. That belt still, I don't like how it rides in there so far. Somebody had it over tightened too. they come over. This is too tight, and they like to come like that from the factory. So I'm not riding those threads, which was my biggest concern, but I'd still like to see that driven in a little more. So let's get that first. I think I can get inside now. We'll get back and see, make sure Y1, Y2 is correct on the thermostat. If something's going on over there. I don't like that setup. It seems dumb to not allow your fan to run with stage 2 call, but we can figure that out. We can work with a 9340 or hopefully just swap our wires. Maybe they swap the wires down below. So I've got it where I'm happier with it. Still looks like maybe a slight gap there, like maybe the motor's just twisted a little bit, but I'm gonna lock it down. You can see we went in a decent ways there on that pulley. I was wrong, not out. I needed to go in. So we're gonna lock it back down and get the belt on here. Well, to get an amp draw and see if I can go in a half a turn on that, I'd be happier than with where it's at. So it's tight still, but I like this tension better. And I mean, it looks lined pretty well. It didn't look far off from the start anyways, but and we did move it a little bit and I had to adjust. It went up pretty far just to get it where it's at. So we'll see if we can't it's 10.6 amps on that motor. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect our compressor and get an amp draw on this motor. Oh yeah, we got room. So I'm probably gonna adjust it in at least a half a turn. So that's gonna speed it up and increase my amp draw. But you can see I'm at 7 amps, it's rated at 10. So I got plenty of room there to go in as much as I need to until I'm happy with the way the belt rides in there. So I'm gonna leave it run like this for now just to get that thawed out, and we're gonna go down and look at this thermostat. I don't know if I can video inside, but we're gonna see if they got their wires swapped. All right, so I located the thermostats. They're hell to find. This is a remodel. This used to be a bowling alley or something, I think. There was your lanes. I don't know what all this back area was, but it's like a farmer's market type deal right now. So there's just crap everywhere. All the wires at the thermostat are black. So it's gotta be spliced in between. I'm not gonna trace it down too much. They changed the thermostats too. I'm just gonna swap my Y1 and Y2. We're gonna get this guy up and running. We'll leave this panel off for now and just kind of watch it, make sure everything looks okay with it. But I think it'll be fine once we swap that, and then we're gonna move over to that guy, adjust our belt and pulley, and get all that squared away. So now we got a Y1 call and our fan's running. So that ought to be all right. I'm not messing with any of this other stuff. We could add a relay to make it work with either fan, but I'm not going that far. They're not going to pay us to do that. They just want it working, and this isn't even the one they called on. So we're going to button this guy up and move on over to the other one. And I don't think these guys do maintenance, so the least we can do is clear the trap out. I'll make sure it primes before I leave and it starts draining, but we're going to need some maintenance eventually, and we'll note that on our fall summary. Like I said, this condenser got replaced. These aren't that old, so this is their first cooling season that they're going through. All right, so I went in a full turn. Got a little bit of flex out of that. I kind of like where it's at, and we're riding a whole lot higher than that pulley, so I like it riding there better. And it wasn't that far off of alignment. I went ahead and just took my rag and wiped down the inside of the pulleys just to clean up all the dust that was on the pulleys so it's not slipping. And we're gonna cycle it and check our amp draw. So we're still well under my amp draw. I'm happy with that. I'm not going to go adjusting anymore because I'm happy with the way it's set in there, and we've got it aligned a little better. Let me know your all's experience. I've found on a bunch of these new carriers, for whatever reason, we've been throwing belts, and a lot of them you can't really find a whole lot wrong. I mean, you know, a little slight out of alignment, but these things are never perfect. And I think they get over tightened from the factory. So we got that guy running. This guy's gonna be running. We can't kick the cooling on yet until my condensation stops. So I'm gonna make sure it thaws out completely, and then we'll kick the cooling back on, and this guy ought to be all right too. And I screwed up again. Reading 8.5. What I forgot, I got the damn panel off. That amp draw is gonna go down when I put it on. So it's not really gonna matter, but I pulled my filters out to see how far along I was. It's about thawed out. Panels are tight. Yeah, see, it went down. So, I mean, we're 8.1 amps. 8.7 amps there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna let it thaw out the rest of the way, and I'm gonna get the hell out of here. So, let me know what y'all think, guys. Leave me a comment. Let me know about these belts and the new Bryant carrier units. Let me know what y'all think, and leave the trade better than you found it. I'll see you guys next time.